here is Zumie, and like say hello to the viewers, Zumie.
What's up, guys?
Say hello another time, but louder, because.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So do you want me to do it?
Yeah. Now it sounds great. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So Zumie is here, and we can actually come back to the topics that we were planning to discuss, and this topic is actually state of Red Dead Online, and developing Red Dead Online's YouTube channel as well, and all this stuff. So the first question for you, Zumie, like I've opened your page now, and I see that you have like pretty disliked video, and it's called "Why is Red Dead Online so bad?" So I haven't watched it, but I just mentioned that it's like too many dislikes. So let's talk about this one. So what's your point in this video? Tell all the viewers and me, please. Why do you think Red Dead Online is so bad?
So this video was kind of a venting video, I will admit, as a disgruntled fan, but also a content creator. Basically, the premise of the video is me justifying Red Dead Online being worth it for the sole purchase of Red Dead Redemption 2. And also why the game itself is, in a sense, falling apart and not able to succeed as good as it could succeed, and how Rockstar just sort of poorly handles not only content production for the game, but also fan service and fan just communication, right? So it's basically my perspective of 2 years playing the game, and it's not so much about saying it's bad like to play with friends and have a good time, but like a fundamental online counterpart, it's poorly executed, and it's hard to, you have to watch the video kind of to really get the full like explanation, but I basically go on a whole spiel as to why it's not doing as well as it could.
Well, it's obviously doing not as well as it could, but I just surprised why many viewers disagree with you, because I think it's.
I think arguably the only people who do disagree are people who have been like devoted fans, which I understand, because anyone who is saying anything in the comment section that's negative, it's easy to talk about disagreeing with somebody. It's hard to agree with someone on a topic like this. Especially if you're a devoted fan. And right now, the viewership for the game is mainly just devoted fans. For example, a little bit more like 2 weeks ago, had I made this video, or maybe even a few months ago, a lot of the fan base was still like original players, disgruntled players, pissed off players, as well as devoted players. So the feedback would have been a lot more receptive and potentially more, yeah, I agree. This is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. That would be more of, I think, the reception versus what it is now. Because, like I said, I think the players that are left are people that are in love with the game still, and they don't care that it's not getting frequent updates because they still enjoy what we do have access to, which is fine. I understand. But for a new player, that's kind of why I explained the things I did explain. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I disagree with you like completely. I don't think that. First of all, I don't think that players who play in this game right now are like dedicated players and who has a lot of hours in this game, because there are a lot of new players, like surprisingly, like too much. I've never seen so many new players actually. And second, in my experience, like people most tend to agree with Rockstar criticism, because obviously Rockstar is not doing much, and like I see it as like most players agree with this, but maybe I really don't know, but maybe it's not because maybe it's misleading, like misleading title, like Red Dead Online is bad, because my position is not that Red Dead Online is bad. It's like Rockstar treats it bad, and sometimes You know.
Well, yeah, but that also affects the game. So
Unfortunately.
the title can also be misconceived, because the reason why I said that title or had that title is because if you ask someone who's played Red Dead Online, any streamer, content creator, or person that's had a lot of hands-on time with it, usually their first response is going to be negative, right? So if a random person, a random gamer on the side of the street walked up to somebody that played Red Dead Online and they said, "Hey man, how's Red Dead Online?" I guarantee you 80% of the people or 90% of the people you ask are going to be like, "Dude, don't even waste your time. Don't even play." And that's kind of why I made this video, because it's more about a wider audience versus like the true fans, I guess you could say. Sorry, I just woke up.
Oh
Slept in
yeah,
a
I
bit.
see. Yeah, I see. Because you got a little bit late, but you actually you sound a little bit sleepy, but doesn't matter. We still can have a conversation and maybe some sort of a discussion. And
Does that make sense though, with a title like how I explained it? Like,
yeah, I'm just saying that like usually criticism for the Rockstar is well received, because I mean most of the dedicated players are not happy with what Rockstar is doing to Red Dead Online, because obviously we all believe that this game deserves much better attention, and they just do nothing, unfortunately. And I hope. By the way, do you think it's ever gonna change?
do I think it's ever going to change?
Yeah, this treatment from Rockstar.
No,
You
I
don't.
don't.
You don't trust in this.
I don't think it will. I do trust Rockstar to make good quality entertainment pieces for gaming, but I don't think Red Dead Online will ever receive the attention that we fans think it deserves, because it's a very limited it's a very limiting time setting for Rockstar. They can't get too imaginative. They can't do too many crazy things for longevity of the game's life. Their hands are tied in a sense. While they still could make updates and communicate with us about that straight up and tell us things, which would be nice and save a lot of, would reassure me and make me feel a lot better. They're not doing that either. So I don't think that Red Dead Online, maybe a couple years down the road, maybe when next gen is more prominent, they might make some more significant updates. But I really don't see Red Dead Online, especially with Rockstar focusing on like GTA 5 remaster and GTA 6 being on the horizon in a couple years. I just can't imagine Red Dead Online ever really blowing up, because if it was going to, I think that if it was going to blow up in popularity and get a lot of content, I think that would have already happened. For example, GTA Online, it kind of had a slow start, but eventually it gained traction, and it's one of the biggest online game services out there. But it's also because Rockstar has seen potential in it and they invested in it. Whereas Red Dead Online, I don't really feel like it's showing them a lot of potential, and it's not really showing them a lot of ways to make money.
So
sad,
I have
but
a
I
question
mean,
from chat. Austin BMX asks you, why does that make it a bad game? I mean, but really, so it's not a definition. It's not a definition for a bad game, anyways.
so why does it make a Red Dead Online a bad game?
Yup.
So to me, the economy, the structure of Red Dead Online, the grind versus gold bar purchases, as well as new players immediately being enticed to pay for gold bars with a new role, those things fundamentally are what make the game bad. Now, if you want to talk about like the graphics and the overall like Western atmosphere, it's great. But the reason I say it's bad, all the reasons I say that the game is bad are valid in the video. Now, it's like a bitter pill to swallow, so to speak, because all the things I say hold truth. I didn't take apart anything that the game does well. I even say that, if you want a Wild Western experience, play the story mode, because the online mode doesn't really offer you an immersive like experience, because everyone's doing the same things. They're all doing the same roles. There's no individuality. The grind, so to speak, is not really efficient. It's not really worth the time to try to grind for the same amount of gold that you need to buy something as it is to just buy it, because the recent nerf, for example, to the daily challenges is kind of bogus. There's just a lot of things that to me make the game perform badly, but also make it look bad to new players and look bad to returning players. That's why that's why I made that video. It was from a venting standpoint. But when you take the game apart and you just look at the core fundamentals, like the gameplay, the fluidity of the movement, the gunplay, the horses, you know, the storytelling when it is there with cutscenes is good. So the game at its core is a good game. It's just that there's so much bullshit piled on top of it that makes it bad.
So if you rephrase it, it's a good game, but it's not properly supported and developed.
Right. So therefore, it's kind of bad in a sense as well. I also asked the question of it, and so not so much as like a statement for that reason. I said, why is Red Dead Online so bad? Here are the reasons why. I didn't say it's a bad game. I said these are the reasons why it's perceived as bad and why it could be bad to some people and why it's bad to me. So it's just like more of an opinion-based video, I guess. But also the things I do say, again, they are factual. Like I don't make up any stuff or anything like that.
Okay, so another question. What do you think about like the nearest future of Red Dead Online perspective? Can it like change the situation? Something that we will see in the next update, probably pretty soon, in a few weeks, I hope, or at least in the summer update, to change at least something, at least some improvements. Do you expect at least some improvements from these future updates?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that Rockstar is planning to add some new quality of life adjustments to make things, you know, maybe patch up some bugs here and there and make things perform better. And I also think that they have some content that's probably, while small, like Telegram missions, for example, it may be able to bridge the gap between now and a new role update or a new role entirely. I think that Rockstar, from what I can tell from rumors, I don't want to say it's 100% true, but I think Rockstar's next plan, from what I can tell and what I've heard, is to do a add-on to the trader role, kind of like they did with the bounty hunter role. So I think that they, in the near future, I think they will be adding more Telegram missions to bridge the gap between now and that trader update, which will, for some players, be enough. But for a lot of players, you know, at this point, people were already expecting heists and properties and things of significance for your character to actually feel like they were a part of the world. And Rockstar has not done any of that, nor have they shown any. They haven't really shown that they're ready to do that yet. I think it's more of like, hey, when we're ready, we'll do that. But right now, we're still just kind of adding smaller things until then. You know, the pandemic was a big reason why that could have happened. But for the near future, sorry, I ramble a lot. This is why I do YouTube videos and not stream, because I just ramble.
And you just woke up, right? Because when I woke up,
yeah, that was my fault. I missed my alarm.
Yeah, actually, I changed now the title.
I think they will.
I changed the title from Talking with Nobody, because you might find it offensive to when you didn't show up, I changed the title of a stream to Nobody on Cat's Podcast, but now since you show up, I changed it because
yeah, I slept in and it was like 12:20 and I remember you said 12:30, so I was like, I kind of made it on time, but it was very late. Like, it was late to get ready.
Yeah. So another, you just mentioned about this heists are not added, some stuff that players obviously want not added. Why do you think? Why do you think Rockstar is not adding something that all players want to see, like heists, for example?
I also well, for that, right now, I think part of the reason why it's not in the game yet is because for a heist, they would need to make a proper payout. So with a job like that, you know, you're going to expect something decent for a reward. There's not enough things in the game right now to really justify too big of a reward, because if the reward is too significant, you can purchase too many things. I don't think there's enough. It's kind of hard to explain what I'm saying, but I think if there was a heist in the game, Rockstar would go all out and they would make it really, really good. Just like they did in GTA Online. They were really fun when they first came out. And even now, there's better ones that are even more fun, like the Cayo Perico heist. But with Red Dead Online, I just don't think there's enough stuff in the game to justify a full-blown heist payout. But also, how would they approach it for squad or for groups? How would they make it available for solo players? The locations in the game, there's only a select few banks, and they're not very large banks.
There are
aside
trains,
from the Saint Denis Bank and you know, trains as well. Yeah, trains. I forgot about trains.
And casino board. We have another good object to rob actually. Mansions.
True.
Big mansions. So I mean, they can find what to rob if they want to. By the way, you played these new Telegram missions, right?
I liked one. Rich Pickings was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was very, very disappointed in the Outrider mission because it was less content than a Stranger mission. I literally just got on a wagon and sat on it until I reached the destination, or you can get on your horse and go alongside the wagon, which is, to me, worse than Stranger missions or more lacking, because at least Stranger missions have a character with a cutscene prior the first time you do them, but also the characters actually speak to you about what's going on and give you context as to why you are escorting said wagon. So it kind of gives you a little bit more immersion, but the Outrider Telegram was just a little bit of a fail to me. I have not even played the other one for the horse, but from what I can tell, it seems pretty fun. You know, you go steal a horse and then you bring it back. But again, that almost just feels like the prologue mission, you know, where you steal the horse for the brothers. And do you remember that mission?
Yeah, I played it, obviously. But what I'm trying to say is that maybe these new missions, they are testing future implementation of mechanics for heists, because I had this theory that now it's just a test, because obviously they're not gonna sell too many, I don't know, Red Dead Redemption 2 or Red Dead Online copies by having these Telegram missions. They are not paying anything and they have no cutscenes, but maybe it's just some sort of a test and they're trying to, you know, to fix something, to test something for the future content. What do you think about such theory?
I think it's a cool theory, actually. That's a very optimistic way of thinking, and I would like to be right there with you. But also there's things that I feel like have already been similar to the Telegram missions in the game previously, where they already know how to execute these types of missions. For example, the Moonshiner revenue missions where you poison the moonshine. There's already a stealth mechanic in that, and there's already objects you interact with. And they're pretty similar to Rich Pickings. You know, you just sneak around, you interact with chests, and you interact with objects, and you open them up and take items. I don't really think that there's been anything groundbreaking in these new Telegram missions that would necessarily mean testing. But I would like to think that maybe they're, like you said, you know, there are parts of it that they're doing specific things, seeing how player feedback is and seeing how it works when players do play it.
Exactly, because
to eventually incorporate into heist.
Look, you mentioned this mission from Moonshiner. In my experience in Moonshiner role, like almost no one bothered to complete it in stealth, because no one cared. There is no like significant reward for doing this in stealth, and no reason to do it, because so most players just don't know.
While you say that, that's a fair point. There's no reason to do it, but I actually had a lot of fun taking the stealth approach when I could, because in Red Dead Online there's not much of a stealth mechanic, so I always did try to actually do stealth on those. Yeah,
but you see, the game was not forcing you to do so, but here game actually forces you, because on a higher difficulty it might be like problematic for some players to fight against all these policemen that gonna be spawning if you not gonna go stealth. So at least there is some reason to do it in stealth, and that's why they can actually test how stealth mechanic works, because many players will try to complete it as it's supposed to be completed.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I will say though, with the Rich Pickings mission that I did, the stealth was definitely not enforced, because if I got detected or had I just been wanting to rush through, you can still just pull out your gun and shoot everybody there and take all the items and leave. It's like,
sorry, have you played on a PC?
Yeah.
Oh, because you see, there is no auto aiming on a console in this mission. So for console players, it's much more difficult to complete on a higher difficulty, because on a PC there is no difference at all, and you can do whatever you want. But yeah, when you're playing with a controller and auto aiming, it's get a little bit harder. So
I play on controller on PC. I don't use keyboard and mouse, if that's what you mean.
And you have auto-aiming?
Do what?
You usually you play this mission with a mouse and a keyboard?
No. I played with a controller.
Oh, and you mentioned that there is no auto-aiming, or you usually don't use auto-aiming.
No, I use free aim with painted black.
Oh, that's why you haven't mentioned the difference. I mean, but most players are sticking with auto-aiming. So I saw many comments like that it's pretty hard on a highest difficulty.
Oh yeah,
because
definitely. I
auto-aiming
mean,
is
I can
disabled.
definitely understand it being hard.
Yeah, but
It's still an option though. Is all I was saying.
yeah, it's a ruthless difficulty. I'm talking about.
Right. Whenever there's
not the
nobody, you
hard
can't see him
one.
on the radar, and it's free
Yeah,
aim
yeah.
enforced. Yeah.
So it's a little bit harder still.
played that one as well.
And there is some reason to complete it on, or at least with the stealth. At least try to complete it.
It's a lot more fun with stealth too, because you're actually like, it feels more engaging. So I definitely understand what you mean by Rockstar potentially testing the stealth mechanic more. There was also that Land of Opportunities mission where there was a little bit more of a stealth mechanic that was fun.
Yeah, but again, I've played it few times and I've never seen no one from my team even trying to hide at that mission. Anyone was just running.
Yeah,
and
it was
shooting.
really frustrating. Like you could definitely tell it wasn't as well done because they would really easily detect you.
Yeah, but you see how there was an easy solution for Rockstar how to like make players to play in the way they want them to play these missions. Just give some extra rewards for completing it in stealth. I don't know, some money or maybe some unique item for completing on the ruthless difficulty without being spotted or killing anyone. Something like this. It's not that hard to implement in the game, I believe. But they,
Yeah, it would have been nice.
but they
for
just
sure.
don't bother for doing this. And actually,
Yeah.
I see many comments in the chat that ruthless is hard, and in
Oh hell yeah, it's hard, dude. You get shot like one time, you're dead.
yeah, Rockstar Guides. I say hello, Rockstar Guides. Actually, we were discussing at the beginning of the stream, which I will cut because the stream is called Zumie Fiasco on podcast, and I will cut the part where you're not on a podcast. But anyway, I was saying about this Outlaw Pass 5 leaked costumes. Have you seen some actually?
Yeah, I've actually been able to go into story mode with Lenny's trainer. I don't know if you've heard of it. Now that you're on PC, but I was able to spawn the Outlaw Pass 5 items and actually check them out in game.
And how do you
Yeah,
like
they're-
them?
I love the vest. I love the vest, and I like
Which
the
one?
hat as well.
Oh, West. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Court.
The portrait vest, I think, is what it was called. It's like a it's got like a cool insignia buckles on the front, and then there's like a really cool logo on the back, or not logo, sorry, an embroidery that's like a bear on the back. It looks really cool. And then the hat looks cool as well. I did not really care for the purple kind of like voodoo looking stuff. I don't really understand what that is. But hey, to each their own. And then the fake beard is a pretty good joke, I guess. It's pretty funny.
Well, actually, this voodoo stuff might. I mean, only reasonable theory I have is that it might have been connected to this Mardi Gras, I believe it's a celebration, but it's already over. It was in February, and maybe they just messed up with dates somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe it looks like a perfect costume for the Halloween update, but not for the regular update, so it's super weird.
Yeah, it seems really odd. I don't really know where that fits in with the context of like in-game canon. Like I guess it's just something for Rockstar to just say, hey, they might like this, throw it in there. I really don't know.
Yeah, what actually you expect to see in this next update? And only trader extension, or you have some different opinion?
For the trader role,
Extension, yeah, for the trader role. But maybe there is some more you think that will be added
Maybe.
in a few weeks.
it's hard to speculate for me. I've never really been a big fan of the trader role. I do like how lucrative it is, but it's kind of one of those roles where you just feel like you're constantly going point A to point B, point A to point B, and then everyone always has their own routines of refilling their supplies and their materials. But it's hard to imagine what would be added to the trader role unless it was like a specific, direct approach to something else that's just attached to the trader role. So maybe some type of business or something like a smaller version of the moonshine business, but it's not obviously not moonshine. But I don't know.
There are
What do you
rumors.
think?
Actually, there are rumors about taxidermy being added as a
Taxidermy? Oh, that'd be cool.
I'm not quite sure because I've never heard this word in English. I trying to translate it from Russian, but how you said it, taxidermy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's possible. There are a few leaks showing that it can be, and actually this will be completely different, probably completely different experience from regular hunting for trader role, but it definitely will involve hunting as well, so it might be something interesting. And you said that you haven't enjoyed the trader role, but I was not enjoying bounty hunter role before the extension, and now I think it's a pretty good role actually. So maybe this extension will change your mind and make this role more interesting for you, just like it happened with me.
For the bounty hunter.
Yeah, for the bounty hunter. So,
Yeah, I hope so, man. I mean, it's definitely a role that kind of like the collector role. It's very passive for me. I like to be running and gunning all the time. Honestly, like that's why I like the bounty hunter role.
Mm-hmm.
And the moonshine role is my favorite so far.
It was always your favorite role, bounty hunter.
Yeah, until moonshiner. Moonshiner is my favorite. Mainly just because the depth to the missions, with like going to the bars and getting into bar fights, or carrying some stupid drunk dude across the map, or taking out a roadblock, which are pretty fun usually. And just the overall storytelling was so well done. The cutscenes were really good. It just felt like the deepest add-on to Red Dead Online that we've seen so far.
Yeah, because they put a lot of work into this role actually.
Yes.
Much more than in any other role, I believe. And unfortunately, it's the only one with so much of an effort from Rockstar. Do you actually think that some future roles might have as much of a depth as this one?
I hope so. I hope so. I don't know if they will. I feel like they may have more. They may have more depth, like the bounty hunter, collector, and trader, which is still enough. It's still okay. I was a little taken aback by how the bounty hunter role, the introduction, you meet this cool bounty hunter and you never see her again. It was kind of weird. But I don't know. Maybe Rockstar will release them in bundles like they did with the Frontier Pursuits, or maybe they will release them individually and be more in depth like the moonshiner role, which I hope it's that way. I hope it's one at a time, because even the naturalist role was a little bit more deep than some of the Frontier Pursuits ones.
I wouldn't say words like deep about naturalist role, because it's, in my personal opinion, it's one of the worst roles, and it's pretty sad updates.
Yeah, I just mean with like storytelling and like character development.
Well, yeah, at least there's some. Actually, again, look, they
like Harry
could have
and
made
Gus and stuff.
Yeah, but they could have made something interesting from this. They have two characters who definitely are antagonists to each other, and they could make some story from this, some interesting developing, even without cutscenes and voice acting. At least we could do quests for Gus and for Harriet and choose on which side we're gonna be, but something interesting, but they just
kind of
wasted.
Like how we thought it was supposed to be in the first place.
Probably, but they just wasted this. Austin BMX says Harriet is the best. Well,
she's the best until she sprays me, dude.
Yeah, she sprays anyone. So, I mean, what was actually your first reaction after the naturalist update came out?
First reaction, I was excited. The legendary animal talk really got me stoked about it. But then I think I actually no-lifed the naturalist update to get to rank 20 as fast as I could to make a video on it back whenever it was, back when it first came out last year. And during that time of grinding, I quickly realized how how much I hated it.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing over and over again, and I was really bummed out that there wasn't a way, like you said, to kind of choose between Gus or Harriet. It was more or less like, no, you have to use both of them, and you have to deal with Harriet spraying you, and it was like a weird cycle, but it was okay though. I mean, I do enjoy the garment sets. I will say I love some of the hooded garment sets, but
Yeah,
yeah,
some are
I
cool.
give it like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, actually, I like many garment sets. It was the strongest part of the update, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
uh, I just lost the idea. But um, about the naturalist role, which is super weird. This role is not something that many players demanded, right? Like I hardly imagine like Rockstar receiving letters from players in which they are begging like, please let us sedate animals, it's so cool. So why do you think this role was even developed? Why do you think they spent resources and time on developing something that like players don't care about, but not something that players obviously want to see, at least in some form they want to see? I'm not saying
Right.
they should develop heists, because maybe it take much more effort and probably than developing, the naturalist, but at least something more cool, something not like this. Why do you think they
Yeah,
making such decisions?
I think that this is my opinion. I think their approach and mindset going at the naturalist role was, around the time that it came out, they had to fix the animal spawns. And I think that they had spent a lot of time trying to figure that out, ironing it out. But also with the cutscenes and stuff, that requires motion capture. So obviously they had planned the naturalist role for at least a decent amount of time, ahead of time. So I think that maybe it was just more or less intended to be a counterpart to the trader role for people that don't like to kill animals. And it was there for people to be able to roleplay a more passive, you collect samples, you study wilderness versus killing it, and you have a way to play in that sense. Because it basically just offers people who don't want to run around on their horseback shooting animals all the time. They just want to sample them and then revive them and then be on their way. So it's cool that they added that, but I really feel like it was also to just lay the groundwork for Red Dead Online's foundation with certain characters. So maybe we'll see more of Harriet and Gus in the future interacting with other role characters, and vice versa with Frontier Pursuits characters. And it could be a bigger plan that we don't know about.
Yeah,
Because they've done that with GTA Online.
I always hope for this, that all these weird and strange actions from Rockstar is a part of a bigger plan that we all don't know about.
I like to believe that too.
With each day I just believe in this less and less, because it still looks like a plan. For example, part of the naturalist updates is animal transformation, right? It's super weird, and obviously it could have been done much better. For example, no area restrictions, no time restrictions, and at least it's some mechanics that can be used for fun. But now it's just a weird mechanic. Nobody's using it. The funny story is, they've made some sort of an update, I don't remember when, and they broke this animal transformation. Broke it for a long time actually. And you know what? No one even noticed. It was not
Because
working.
no one was doing it.
Yeah, because nobody cares. So they've made some mechanic that can easily be improved to something better. Just remove these restrictions and let players have fun, right? But they're not doing it. Why? I always have this question, like, why? And I always try to think that, well, maybe it's really a part of a bigger plan, but each time I just see no evidences of this being the case.
It's like it's just that constant lingering hope. It's just like, this has to mean something. This has to mean something.
Yeah, but it does not. It does not mean
Yeah.
anything, unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
uh, so the next question I've made some questions that I wanted to ask you, but I tuned this document off. Anyways, the next question: what is the part of the game, the mechanics that you enjoy the most?
For me,
Yeah.
after going around and playing other games, whenever I do have moments where, I'm not recording or I get bored of the game, in Red Dead, I've noticed that when I come back, for me, the game world and the way, just the way everything kind of has its own place with or without you. Even if you're there, even if you're not there, the game will still move on without you. Like the wildlife, the NPCs, and then also I love the player movement and the fluidity of movement with the gunplay in third person. A lot of games fail to do that well. Even after going back to GTA Online and trying to run around and stuff, it feels so clunky and dated. And then it makes me realize just how polished Red Dead Online is with just player movement and simple things like that. Um, I do kind of miss the more immersive gameplay before the patch where they like got rid of the looting animations and stuff. I kind of miss that, even though even though it does take forever to like pick up a body and loot it. I kind of liked those things. I'm
But
one of
it's
those weirdos that actually enjoyed that.
that it's not only they change this looting animations, they change the move speed overall, and it doesn't look
Yeah.
like so realistic as it used to be before this. I believe it was in
Oh, dude.
summer update, right, in the Frontier Pursuits.
Yeah,
update.
in the summer. I remember back before the update, I actually have some old gameplay in PvP. Dude, I watched it back just out of boredom, and I was using a bow and arrow, and holy crap, I was moving so slow.
Yeah.
It was insane, dude. I was like, what the heck is this? Is it like lagging or something? And then I realized, oh wait, that's the update. It made us faster.
Yeah, it was like pretty bad received update. I remember this part of the update actually, because update was cool. We had 3 new roles. It was the biggest update that we had in Red Dead Online ever. But I remember a lot of backlash about this change in animations because really they made
Yeah.
the movement so much faster.
For example, the dynamite stick you would actually light it. Same thing with the Molotov. You would actually light the cloth in the Molotov with a match. So that was kind of cool. And now that's gone. You just equip the dynamite and it's already pre-lit. You equip a Molotov and it's already on fire.
Yeah. It's
So
not
those kind of
only
things
that.
I do sort of miss.
Also, reloading speed was increased for weapons, and they were not really too realistic before the update. But now, when you reload with one hand, this revolver like super fast within human
Especially when
speed,
you're dual
like,
wielding.
yeah, it looks super
It's
super
nuts.
weird. Super weird. Actually, you said about this. You said about how you enjoy watching how polished this game and how beautiful it looks. I had the same feeling when I played Cyberpunk when it came out, and I was
Oh god, don't even get me started.
and yeah, actually was even making videos on that. But at some point, I just realized that they it's like a fraud to me. All they've promised was not delivered in this game. So I actually was I wanted to see this rich system of skills, abilities, combinations with weapons, and they actually promise this, and it's in the game. But the problem is it's not working. It's like
Exactly.
half of the skills are not working. But anyway, when I was switching from Cyberpunk to Red Dead Online, I was like, wow, this game looks beautiful. And we have new game, Cyberpunk, that should look beautiful. And it does not. But
Yep.
and we have Red Dead Online, it looks like you just trust in this world. That you just want to be here, at least I do. And that's why I guess we're still playing Red Dead Online, despite the fact that there is like definitely not that much of a support from Rockstar.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Like, I think that's part of why I get so mad. Because I have such a big love for Red Dead Online, and I like passionately care about it. So whenever it gets neglected by Rockstar, or there's an update that completely scuffs the animal spawns, or I get disconnected over and over and over again from the servers, even though it's just me trying to play, or a hacker, spawns in my lobby and starts trolling me. All those things eventually add up to the point where you start, or for me anyway, I start looking past the beautiful game. I start looking past the perfect gunplay and like game mechanics, and I forget about all that because I'm angry, and then I just dwell on the things that piss me off because they happen so often. So all those things added up make it hard for me to appreciate the game for what it is. You know what I mean?
I understand it perfectly. I mean, I personally criticize Rockstar. I mean, some people, for some reason, don't understand that it's fine when you love the game, but don't like the company that stays behind that game. It's not like I don't like the company personally. I just don't like how they treat the game and player base. I mean, it could have been much better if they were at least communicating to players, saying something.
I mean, for example, man, I actually was trying to stream the game about, what was it, like 5 months ago before Cyberpunk came out, and I got hacked, right? So someone had literally hacked my profile to the point where I had to contact Rockstar and stuff, but I couldn't even log in the game online because every single time I would get online, about 5 seconds in, I would be booted. And I just couldn't play. Like I just couldn't play the game. So it was right when the Bounty Hunter update came out, and I was super upset because I couldn't make any videos on it because I couldn't get gameplay and I couldn't record anything. And Cyberpunk had just come out, so out of anger and like looking at the universe, like, okay, well, this is a sign, saying that I should just jump off Red Dead and go try Cyberpunk because, I can't even play it. I've been dealing with so much bullshit. I got hacked. The game hasn't been updated in a while anyway, and it's just a Bounty Hunter expansion, so I was salty. And then I went to Cyberpunk, and obviously that flopped. And because Cyberpunk flopped, I came back, but luckily I was able to, I guess, wait it out long enough for the hacker to leave me alone, because I was able to finally get back online. But yeah, like that's literally 80% of the reason why I even switched games for a brief period, because Rockstar just didn't know what to do and they couldn't help me get online. It was crazy.
Have you tried to contact them like real person from the Rockstar?
Yeah, I've talked with like support one-on-one, and they've walked me through like 2 or 3 different social club name changes to try to see if that would work. They've told me to like get IP address protection and like a VPN. They've told me all kinds of things to do, but it just, none of it worked at the end of the day.
Because when I was followed by modders for like few months in a row, I was like, okay, whatever. But when I was getting DDoSed, I actually said that it's enough. I'm not playing on a PC anymore. I bought a Xbox and enjoying new Xbox and enjoying playing that. But I've tried to contact support and no one even respond to me. I even sent a video of cheater who was not even hiding his social club name, spawning at me and crushing me. And that video, despite the fact that I posted it via forum on the social club website, it got no views. Like no one even watched it. So it was super weird to me. That's how they don't care about the huge problem. Actually, it's a huge problem that is on a PC, because like I know a lot of cases when people suffer from this mod menus and stuff, and Rockstar doesn't seem to do anything. And yeah, it's really not cool in my opinion.
Yeah, I think for right now they have their hands tied, and well, not only that, but they don't really care to really. Since they're mainly console based anyway, as a company, their games always come out first on console, then they release versions for PC. It's like while they do care about the PC players, they just don't really seem to know how to really handle it, I guess, in a timely manner. And even if they did, they would have to they'd have to use a lot of resources and manpower, and they'd have to pay money to do it. So it's like they just don't think it's worth it.
Well, I think it's mostly because of the resources. They just don't want to spend resources.
Exactly.
And which is kind of weird. I mean, they have so much profits from from other projects. So it would be a wise move to reinvest some of this money to make this. Many people are saying that Red Dead Online is far not as popular as GTA Online, but it doesn't matter because there is such a thing as diversification. They should put eggs in a different baskets, and making Red Dead Online a good game service, it's a solid decision in my opinion from business perspective, because if something will happen with GTA Online, like I don't know what can happen, but for instance, people will think, well, it's an old game, we don't want to play it here anymore. They will have another project that at least gives them some profit, but they don't seem to care about it. Unfortunately. And by the way, about Cyberpunk, it also was like, because I had this feeling, I've played a little bit, and I was like, wow, it's a good game, because I was playing on a Xbox, on new Xbox, and game runs pretty good there. And I was like, wow, we have good story, I am enjoying it so much. But later and later and later, I was realizing that no, it's not a great game. I just wonder whether whether the same happened to you.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened to me. I realized quickly that the story wasn't very changeable. It was supposed to be an RPG, but no matter what decision I made up until like the end of the game, it didn't matter. The story still played out the same, because I purposefully would load saves and try different options, and the mission would still carry out the same on multiple occasions. It just the bugs every once in a while would really take me out of the experience, because there was a couple of times where it was a serious emotional cutscene and a character would have like a gun clipping through their head.
Yeah, I had the same. I know what you're talking about.
So
Same scene. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, really, man? Like, I can't even enjoy this now. And there was a few moments like that, so I did enjoy it to a certain extent, but at the same time, it was very lacking.
Will you play Cyberpunk Online if it's gonna be released, I don't know, next year, for example?
Oh, definitely. I'll give it a chance and check it out for sure. I have no idea what they're gonna do with it, but I'll definitely be looking into it.
I'm pretty sure it will be released someday, because it's a hope for all the investors, as I can tell after listening to this investors call that CD Projekt Red had, and it's obvious because online parts of the games are making so much money nowadays. So I guess there will be online, but I'm not quite sure whether it's gonna be good. Like at this point, I don't think it's gonna be good.
Honestly, with everything going on with them getting they got hacked, I guess, and they had to go through a lawsuit, and their game got taken down from the PlayStation Store and Microsoft Store at one point. So I think that they've probably put a wait time on the online portion. I think they're probably going to do everything they can to fix the story mode first, and that might take a while.
Yeah, I think it's, but there will be a pressure from investors in any way, because investors want to see the online.
I mean, definitely the whole game's mess up was because of that.
And actually, there is even pressure from investors of Take-Two about Red Dead Online. I mean, I was listening to last investors call, and there were like few direct questions about Red Dead Online, like what do you think, what's it gonna be? And of course, Take-Two CEO like decided not to answer this question, as pretty much as most other questions. But I see that investors are interested in Red Dead Online success, because I believe they had some expectations about Red Dead Online when it was released. Not only we players had these expectations, but Take-Two investors as well. But for some reason Rockstar is still not hurrying up with this game. And it all
I think as weird as it is, sorry to interrupt you, I think that Red Dead Online is a experimental online experience that they want to eventually incorporate into all of their online games.
Like GTA Online next?
Yes. I think they will it sounds weird, but hear me out. I think the roles were an attempt to try and streamline roleplay because of how successful GTA RP is. I think that these roles in Red Dead Online were intended for players to like pick one, and obviously you have the ability to do whatever you want, but they give you the option to really like pursue one character type. You want to be the best bounty hunter in the frontier, then pursue this role, and so on and so forth. So I think that maybe in the future with GTA 6 and the online counterpart to that game, if it's not just GTA Online, I think that there might be a role-playing side to it.
Yeah, it's actually a reasonable theory. I also sometimes think that it's some sort of a beta test for the future project, at least. I hope that it's for the future of Red Dead Online, like, let's say there will be some big game changer, and now they're just testing stuff for this big game changer. But it's quite possible that, yeah, they're just testing stuff for GTA Online. I don't know, maybe this one GTA Online, or maybe GTA Online 2.0 that will be released someday.
Right, that's what I'm wondering too, if they're going to make a whole nother, because if you think about it, for the engine to be up to date and up to standard, they would need to make a new online counterpart. There's just not the current GTA Online just doesn't cut it.
But I mean, for me, for the person who don't play GTA and never played GTA Online but loves Red Dead so much, it's kind of a sad theory that all the Rockstar's interests in this game is just testing stuff for the bigger project, and it just really sounds sad.
Yeah. It's sad, but
it might be true.
At the end of the day, they are a business.
Yeah,
so they do need to figure out ways to test features without it being on, because it would be a nightmare if they released GTA 6 Online and it was all about testing.
Yeah.
They would literally be shooting themselves in the foot. So Red Dead Online is the perfect playground and sandbox for them to experiment with roles and like a different style of online gameplay.
Yeah, I agree, because at the end of the day, I mean, there are some players who defend Rockstar no matter what they say. Like, how dare you to criticize? I mean, they've made such a great games, and there are such a talented people working there. I agree, there are talented people working there, but the company itself is not people who work there. It's another different beast, and this beast is interested only in getting profits. That's the nature of capitalism, and it's fine. But we have to understand that Rockstar don't care about, or Take-Two rather say, don't care about player satisfaction or any other aspect of, don't care about you personally. All they care about is to have good profits, and they will do whatever it takes. They don't care about their worlds, they don't care about their games at the end of the day. They need to see good profits, and if someday someone will decide that, mobile version of Red Dead Redemption 3 is the best way to make money, what we will get instead of all this, we will get mobile version. I mean, it's good for us.
They try to make it on Switch, for Christ's sake, like.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen, but I mean, for us there is a good news. It seems like Take-Two is kind of an outdated, old-fashioned company. They not go too fast with the progress. Otherwise, it's just look at Blizzard, for example. What people are getting now? What new games? Mobile games, and
it's pretty shit.
I would rather play Red Dead Online without content than see this game being released on a mobile.
It's like Blizzard, like you're saying. Imagine if Blizzard made World of Warcraft and it didn't do as well, but it was still a success, but it wasn't as big as it is. Imagine how many games they would have created between then and now. Probably several. So it's just like Rockstar, they made several games that did really well on their own, like up to GTA 4, and then GTA 5 released and it did really well, broke records, and then GTA Online came out, and guess what? Biggest success they've ever seen. So just like Blizzard with World of Warcraft, it's an online game that can go forever with microtransactions and new updates and be free to play, but their money is made through the in-game purchases, just like GTA Online and just like Red Dead Online. GTA Online obviously being the more successful one. Rockstar has never been more. They've never been really pushed to break the mold and do something new and creative like they were with GTA 5. GTA Online for them was a brand new thing. It was them pushing the limits of online gaming, and they broke the mold, so to speak. But ever since they did that and they became so successful, they've got comfortable, and they haven't had to really come down from that high yet. I mean, 2020 was one of the biggest games, or one of the biggest years for GTA 5.
Yeah, they actually was surprised, again, from the investor call. They were saying, like, we are basically were not expecting for such an old game to perform so well. It's overperforming, and overperforming year after year, and they don't know what to do about it. And since you mentioned about Blizzard, there is a comment in chat, like, Diablo 2 remake, and you probably heard about this news, right? So the question is, would you like to see a Red Dead Redemption 1 remake, for example?
I think that'd be awesome. I love Red Dead 1. The only thing is, I would much rather see what Rockstar could do with something new. Because I've experienced Red Dead 1, and while I would love to see it in modern graphics with modern gameplay, I feel like I would rather see a new game.
Yeah, but to me it looks like an easy money. Red Dead Redemption or GTA 4 remakes. And actually remakes is just a trend right now in the gaming industry. So I think we might see it, and actually I would like to see it. I just think it's better. I mean, yeah, it's worse than new game, but it's better than what we have right now, which is nothing. And
yeah, like if you ask me if I would rather see a Red Dead Online update with bunch of new content or Red Dead 1 remaster, I would pick Red Dead Online content.
But what if Red Dead Redemption 1 remaster will mean some huge change to Red Dead Online? I don't know, time zone jump to like 10 years ahead. And a lot of changes.
If it brought in like another online.
Yep.
I mean, it's hard to say. That'd be cool too. I just feel like it'd be hard to go from one Red Dead Online to the other. Or wait, do you just mean like an expansion on the current one, or do you mean like an entirely new one?
I mean, both options are reasonable in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that'd be awesome if they sold it like that and they said, Red Dead 1 remaster with online expansion. Yeah, I'd definitely be into that. But if it was just the game itself for the single player experience, like the story mode, I don't think I would pick that over new content for the Red Dead Online we have.
Actually, I have a question about Mexico, and that's a question I always ask people who join my podcast. It's what if you have to choose, but you have to choose only one new content change in the next Red Dead Online update. So, and there are 3 options available: properties, heists, or Mexico map expansion. What would you choose?
Oh, Mexico map expansion, hands down.
Even though it's not gonna be like connected with some new roles or something, just a part of the map with some NPCs, maybe some small storyline upgrade, you still would choose Mexico.
I think so, because to me, a new area on the map means more exploration, more immersion, but also somewhere new to go. And that's, you can always do something with friends or sort of like make your own experience, right, by going there. Whereas a heist and property, like, sure, you'll have property that you can go to, but I feel like it would feel reminiscent of the Moonshine property. It would be cool at first, but then it would get kind of boring after a while. And as for the heists, I think that they would have a lot of appeal for the first month or so, but then again, they would kind of wear off, just like GTA Online. Everyone was super excited about the heist at first, and then after a little while, they got bored. So I think if we had a new location, we could always go to that location whenever we wanted, and we could, you know what I mean? It's just it's a place to visit, and I think the current map we have is so beaten down. I mean, there's still new things we're finding every day because it's so big, but I think a map expansion would be sick.
Yeah, so you would choose Mexico, right?
Yeah.
I
I love
always
Mexico too. I love Red Dead 1 Mexico. So like that to me, I'm also biased.
But actually,
I
it
would
might
love
be
to see
connected
Mexico in this game.
with Red Dead Redemption 1 remake again. They might make a remake, and to sell it better, they can add Mexico to, online mode without changing anything else. It's another
That'd be cool.
possibility, actually.
That'd be really cool.
I would like to see something, but unfortunately there is no real news about this, only rumors. But I really want to see at least something big in July. Again, question: do you think we will see some of those that I've mentioned this year, of these three options? Mexico heists, or robberies.
I think if we were to see one of those, it would be properties. I think that would be the easiest thing for Rockstar to add.
In which form? In which form properties? How it will look?
Oh, I would say potentially adding just for sale signs, I guess, to the front of certain houses throughout the frontier that aren't involved in any missions. Because there are a few shacks and buildings and stuff that are available that could be used as properties that I've seen, as well as like maybe renting a hotel room from like Valentine or Strawberry.
Yeah,
but I think there's a lot of the only issue with properties is like they can't add any buildings because Red Dead Online is supposed to take place before the story mode. So
again, time jump.
Yeah, before the story mode. Yeah.
Again,
so
time jump can be an option here. Like
they need to do that in my opinion, because if they don't, they're really limiting themselves to what they can add to the game. Because any structure they add would have to be in the story mode at that point. Because, I mean, for example, Sean McGuire is still alive as a stranger mission character. So as well as Sadie's husband, he's in the game as well.
Heavy
so
spoilers.
in order for them to add
Warning.
a structure, they would have to advance the timeline.
Warnings over heavy spoilers. Not. I always. I mean, I always laugh when people say, about spoilers on Red Dead Redemption 2, like about Arthur and stuff.
I apologize if you haven't seen him get his face shot off. Then you're 3 years late.
Yeah. So actually, I have a comment from chat. Laughing Factory says, "I hate that it takes place before story." And actually, it's an interesting decision. Why do you think they choose to set Red Dead Online in a time period before the story, not after? I mean, what I mean by that is setting story Red Dead Online after the story mode events can give them so much freedom. They can add buildings, as you said. They can add new characters, or I don't know, something like this. Why it happens before the story mode?
So I think the creative approach, what they ran into a problem of, was they were probably talking about this exact thing when they were making Red Dead Online, and I think they were probably like, oh well, let's do it after the events of the story mode so that we can be less limited. And someone was like, well, wait, if you do it after the story mode in Red Dead 2, don't you need to do it after Red Dead 1 story? Because if you don't, we would have to go back and add things to Red Dead 1. And then they were like, shit, yeah, that's true, because Red Dead 1 is technically after Red Dead 2 in the timeline.
Well, you know what? If your theory is correct, it's pretty promising, because it means they care about timeline of the...
They care about the canon, right?
Yeah. And they might care about it only if they want to use it somehow. And
so for example, if they were to set the whole online mode completely after all the events of Arthur Morgan and John Marston's story, so many characters would be dead. So there would be this issue of, well, we can't incorporate any characters that people love in online because, well, they're dead and gone. Because the story itself that plays out, we would have to make a reason for them to show up if it was after the events. We would have to give context as to why they're back in this area, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. For example, Mary Beth, she travels away. They would have to make an excuse if she wanted to be in online. If they wanted to add her to online mode, they would have to make an excuse as to why she traveled back. So I think they just said, okay, screw all that. That's a headache. Let's just put it before the events so we can include some characters and have it make sense, and then just let it ride out.
Well, actually, you know what? I think it's the main reason why they decided to set this before the story, just to have this possibility to add beloved characters, because they can add anyone
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much
that's what. Yeah, that's what I
and
mean.
sell it somehow. I don't know, because just imagine if they were they add Sadie Adler, but only in one side mission. But they could have done so much more with this. There is so much more potential. They could have.
Yeah, I think what would be really cool if they did it. I don't know if they will. But they've already added, Sadie and Sean and Bill Williamson and Black Bell and a few others from story mode in online for stranger missions. So I was thinking it would be really cool during the time of, what was it, like chapter 3, between chapter 3 and 4, where all that time passes and they travel to the new camp. I can't remember what chapter it was, but anyway, in the story mode, there's like a decent amount of time that passes where you don't get to see what Arthur's doing. So you as the player it just says this many months later, and you're like, oh, okay. Well, I think it'd be really cool if they could use that gray area where we didn't see what Arthur was doing and incorporate him into online mode as a stranger mission.
Yeah, it's a game seller in my opinion. It's something
That'd be sick to see Arthur like interacting with your character, dude. Oh, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah, again, it's a perfect idea. Why is not happening at any point, and I don't get it. I hope that you're right
strange.
about the plan. I hope that you're right about the plan. Anyway, I guess it's time for us to... I haven't actually warned you, but at the end of the stream, I ask chat to give some questions to you, and I just pick some of them and ask you, obviously, hoping for you to answer. And while we are waiting for the first questions, I have a question for you. Why do you have this nickname? I mean, Fiasco means like failure, if I correctly good.
Okay, so Zumie Fiasco. The origin to my name is when I was 16. I was heavy into skateboarding, and I used to shop at a store in the U.S. called Zumie's. I used to get my boards there, clothes, pretty much every skateboarding accessory you could think of. And this is before Zumie's really became popular, the popular store it is now. But anyway, that's the first part. So Zumie comes from the store Zumie's. And then Fiasco actually comes from a rap artist. He goes by Lupe Fiasco. And he had a song called Kick Push, which is what I always warmed up to when I was skateboarding. So whenever I was like, warming up my legs before a skate session, I would listen to that song. So I mixed it together and I came up with Zumie Fiasco.
Well, interesting mix. First question, what if farmers and ranching was a thing? What would you like to see this mechanic of farmers and having your own ranch? I believe it's what it means.
I would fucking love that.
Yeah, because I mean, let's say property is farm, because technically it's also property. Then what would you pick? Mexico farm or, robbery?
Now you're making me second guess my.
Yeah. Because...
depending on how detailed it is and how much you can do with your property, like if you can own a property in this game and be able to clean it, carry hay bales around to feed your livestock, herd your animals, treat your horses, feed your horses, brush them, saddle maintenance, I don't know, replace your horse's hooves or whatever, like all those things, I would definitely choose a property, because to me that's finally, for once, grounding your online character in the world and making it actually feel like you're a part of the world. Because up in like right now, all we have is our camp. It just moves around with us. So it feels like we're just kind of like floating around the map and we're never really grounded anywhere. So I would definitely choose a property if it was like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like most players would give the same choice, make the same choice. And another interesting question, but I'm pretty sure what your answer is going to be. What do you think of story mode DLC?
For Red Dead 2?
Yep.
I think the story was rounded up pretty well. I mean, I don't think there needs to be any DLC unless it's like a bizarre one, kind of like Undead Nightmare. Unless it's something wild and off the wall like that, I don't really feel like there's room for it, because you pick up the story where you left off in Red Dead 1. So essentially Red Dead 1 is your DLC to Red Dead 2.
Yeah, actually I would like to see such DLC as Red Dead 1.
But yeah, I would like to see something bizarro. I for the longest time I was hoping, because of the UFOs in the game and stuff, I was hoping we would see like Cowboys versus Aliens. I know it's weird. Some people would hate that, but I thought it would be really cool to run around as Arthur or John, you know, fighting off an alien invasion.
Yeah, it might be like a small event, if we, not small event, but small DLC, not a big one. Anyways, the question is really important. Zumie Fiasco, do you like cats?
Do I like cats?
Yep, cats.
Unfortunately, I'm allergic.
So you don't.
But I do like cats. So like I'll still hold a cat, pet a cat. You know, they're adorable. But I always kick myself afterwards, because I like literally breathe snot for like hours afterwards.
Yeah, it's sad.
I'm so allergic to them. I get headaches. I get sick. Like I literally have one of the worst allergies to cats.
Yeah, I mean, some of my friends are having allergic to cats, and we have a cat obviously living with us, and when they come, it's pretty not cool. I always want to feed this cat, but they just starting to feel bad right after it,
Yeah.
and it's really sad. Rockstar ever will make cars in Red Dead Online? What do you think?
Yes, potentially, but later on. I think that'll be like maybe you know how GTA started out more realistic with a crime world, and then it turned into a fucking ridiculous jetpack slinging freaking hoverbike bullcrap game. I think that Red Dead Online, if it does, you know, gain some traction and does well, I think whenever Rockstar starts making money off of it, they will add cars and things like that to make more money.
What about some like more crazy trash, like I don't know, magic, flying horses and stuff like this? What do you think? Is it possible?
I don't think they want to break it that much. I don't think they would go that far. I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe a hot air balloon.
But they did with GTA. I mean, they did, and they succeeded, actually. So maybe from this logic, they might think, well, it's a great idea to make, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2 profitable as well. Maybe we should add vampires, because, you know, all girls love vampires. So let's do this.
I mean, yeah. You never know. Rockstar's kind of they kind of have a wild card sometimes. I mean, they do things that no one expects, and at first people receive it as, oh, this is ridiculous, this is just stupid, and then they end up enjoying it. So I don't know. I don't think they would go that far, but they might. I don't know.
Yeah, I always you know, there is such a dilemma if you will have to choose. So let's say Red Dead Online stays as it is with some small updates, like each 3 months or so, just like we had last year, right? Mm-hmm. Or the next option for you is to have all this crazy stuff like vampires, zombies, all this stuff just put into the game, just like with GTA Online, let's say, to absurd level, but it has a lot of love from Red Dead Online, a lot of attention, a lot of updates. What would you choose?
I mean, there is a certain point where, you know, just because you're adding content doesn't mean it's a good thing all the time. But at this point, I would love to see the game just get like constant updates, even if they are bizarre. It's up to the player to pursue them and play them. If you don't like it, ignore it. So I think I would choose the crazy one. I think I would choose the one where Rockstar just goes crazy and adds a bunch of crap.
Actually, they can make it as a separate lobby, so you choose where you want to play.
Yeah, like you can choose to play it. You know, you don't have to.
Yeah, so it could be a cool idea. Actually, I really but you know what? They had a chance to add zombies and at least try tests things. I'm talking about this update that we had on a Halloween, right? And they already they've made zombies basically, but they decided to make it super lame. Gave them guns and use them only in one PvP event, and that's it. So
That bothered me so much.
yeah, I mean,
The fact that it was literally just reskinned NPC models with melee weapons,
Yeah.
and some of them even had guns.
they had guns and bows, and it's
Like
it was weird.
I was like, wow, really? This is supposed to be like Halloween? What the heck is this?
Why do you think they don't give us second character? It's another question from chat, and it's really I have no opinion why it's not happening.
At first I thought it was because your character was going to have more meaning to it based on what role you choose to pursue. So initially my first impressions were, oh, you only have one character because this is your end all be all. This is who you are. This is the path you choose. You pursue certain roles, you do your thing, you create your own story. So to add another character to that, it would be kind of weird because here you are with your main character, grinding all these different things, making all kinds of cash and gold, or earning gold, and then you switch to another character and you have access to all those funds, but that character just started. So it doesn't really make sense to have a second character get a fresh start with a lot of money and gold. I don't really understand the reasoning though, because again, in GTA Online, you have a second character, they still get access to your funds. So I don't really know what Rockstar is thinking about that. I don't really know why they chose to make it to where you only have one character, but I said initially when I put thought into it, it was just because I thought that they were trying to make it more immersive, but I really don't know.
Well, maybe that's a plan. Sometimes I think that they want to, as I've said, as a part of diversification, they want to have this game as, this immersive option for players who want this type of activities, and they want to go all in with GTA Online and all this crazy stuff and add it there. And they actually focusing on this game staying immersive because we have some weird stuff already in Red Dead Online, but it still doesn't feel like it's some crazy dream of some drug addict and with all this weird costumes and stuff. So
I mean, honestly, the story mode is even a little bit more crazy than the online mode at this point.
Yeah, and actually another good thing about Red Dead Online that I have to admit is that it's not heavily focused on a monetization by any means, in my opinion. Not as GTA Online, as far as I can tell, at least. So they're not like forcing monetization too much. I'm afraid that it's just yet, because this nerf to daily challenge system is it's like a warning. It's really doesn't look good to me, at least. But I mean, and so the question, like, for me personally, about like I wanted to discuss this, but I'm not quite sure whether we will manage to do this. But at least the question overall, your opinion on like growing Red Dead Online channel, and not only growing but making content for Red Dead Online. Is it hard? Is it like just tell what you think about it.
Just like content production in general?
Yeah, about Red Dead Online in specific.
Well, for me, it's been a crazy ride. It's been like a roller coaster. I've started from Red Dead story content and then transition into online. My channel is kind of a wild card, to be honest. It's a very weird growth, because I believe it or not, I actually started on Fortnite. But we don't talk about that.
Fortnite.
But I transitioned into Red Dead, which is completely like polar opposite of Fortnite, right? And immediately when Red Dead 2 came out, I was like, okay, I love this game, for the story mode anyway at the time. and I started making content for it. I didn't have any like hopes of, you know, growing super quick. I didn't expect to, but I had a few videos that did really well starting out. And then I switched to online mode, and then I had like 5 to 10 videos back to back that just kind of flopped, didn't do too well. It was kind of a struggle, and I was starting to think about quitting really early on. This was during the beta, and then Gun Rush came out. Everyone thought it was going to be this big battle royale, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it was a flop.
So I made a video on that, thinking it was going to be cooler than it was, and you know, I was naive at the time. And then, of course, I started getting into more like news and conversational topics. So I talked about, you know, Rockstar and like what they were doing with Red Dead Online, and those videos did really well. So I realized quickly that people kind of enjoyed the more informative videos versus like tips and tricks. So I started going that route for a while. It was kind of hard to come up with content, but I still stuck with it. And eventually I just started to grow. Growth for Red Dead Online channels, though, it's really hard because it's one of those things where you have your dedicated fan base that play the game every day, and they'll tune into your videos occasionally, but a lot of times they already know everything, so they feel like they don't really need to tune in anyway. And then you have the new players, which usually are the most receptive to content, and they'll actually, you know, interact with you, they'll talk to you. They will, you know, maybe subscribe, whatever. But for growth, man, it's hard because Red Dead Online is kind of a weird niche in a sense that it's not this big, gigantic, popular game. So you have to figure out a way to not only make it entertaining with how you deliver your information, but also what information you're talking about and if you're providing value to people. So that's what I just focused on, was trying to provide value and be entertaining with how I delivered it, and that's how I got where I am now.
You see, I wanted to mention some problem with like focusing on purely entertaining content for Red Dead Online. At least what I've learned so far, it's just not gonna work, because you know, for having entertaining content, you have to have huge audience. Because
True.
not all players are enjoying it, obviously, and in some game, I mean, audience, not your personal audience, but audience that is interested in this particular game. So in GTA Online it will work, but not in Red Dead Online, and not only because it's a different games with different, you know, player bases, but just because the overall amount of players who play this game are much smaller. So I just think that purely entertaining content in Red Dead Online is not as great of an idea. But I still do it all the time, and it always flops. But I just love to have a laugh sometime. But yeah, entertaining content does not work. I have a comment from chat from So Sinister that entertaining content does not work. Well, purely entertaining content, I have not seen like succeeding too much in Red Dead Online.
So with entertainment content, you have to be able to. It's hard, right? So there are a few channels that are out there that have done it. But the only reason why they are successful is because they already have success in other games.
Yeah.
So it's not Red Dead that's making it work. It's the creator that's making it work.
I agree. You're
so
probably
for example,
talking
Modest Pelican.
Modest Pelican, Outlaw Gary, probably, right?
Outlaw Gary, not so much. He kind of did for a little bit. He tried to do entertainment content, but it didn't really work out for him. He was better at doing like, you know, cache glitches and stuff like that, gold exploits and whatnot. Kind of like tips and tricks on how to make gold and cache fast is what he was doing well at. But I think that for entertainment pieces, for people to be able to get good views in Red Dead, they have to already be a prominent figure on YouTube, or at least have some type of an audience that already watches them for other reasons. And that way, when they come to Red Dead Online and play Red Dead Online, they're still getting that viewership, but it's because they've already built it up. Whereas for us, it's like we're still growing. We don't have like super huge audiences to watch our content. So when we make an entertainment piece, we don't really reach new people. It just kind of gets stuck within our current audience, and they kind of watch it and share it back and forth, but it doesn't ever like go past that. So Modest Pelican, you know, he has a huge audience, so he gets tons of views when he puts a video out, and then YouTube pushes that video to new people.
Yeah, it's not
So
about the game.
it's just
It's he can make
it's about the
entertaining
person.
content about like any game, and it will do plus minus the same. It will work
Yeah.
plus minus the same. It's about his personality. I'm talking about like, yeah, I agree with you 100% here that it's mostly about the creator, and it's just not enough viewers for Red Dead Online specific to have entertaining content to be successful without having like the good audience, the big audience, not the good but big audience.
Yeah, and if you are able to do it, it's like you have to be able to sensationalize it. So it's like you can't just be boring with it. You have to make it entertaining. You have to package it as an entertainment piece. You can't just say like, you know, hey, there's new content in the game and I did this. Like nobody on average is going to care about that. If you sensationalize it and make it more like, you know, how that one guy did the walking across the map challenge with the stew.
Mm-hmm.
Like that right there is sensationalizing something because it's a challenge. And it's like, even if you don't play Red Dead, you're curious because you want to see what happens to this guy that walks across the map. So it's like you have to be able to do a piece of entertainment that's like, if it's not going to be about you and already having a big audience and being able to be successful because you are who you are, you have to be able to make a video that's going to reach everybody and be viewable by everybody, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. And about you just said about making a sensation out of anyone. The same works about news actually. And
Right.
what do you think about this? Because it's it's a border with clickbaiting actually. It's a thin line between.
It's hard, man.
Yeah.
I've been accused of clickbaiting a lot. But the reason why I title my videos the way I do is because sure, while it's not always about views or whatever, this is my job, right? This is my full-time gig. This is what puts food on the table. So I have to be able to like present something to somebody that sees my thumbnail and my title, and I have to be able to tell them that it's worth it for them to click it. If I just leave a cut dry title that's like very simplistic and like not very appealing thumbnail, they're not going to want to even watch it. They'd feel like they're wasting their time. So
Unfortunately,
the term
it's true.
clickbaiting,
Yeah.
the term clickbaiting on YouTube, to me, as like a content creator and a viewer, it's so old. It's so like, I feel like everyone should understand by now that if you're not clickbaiting, you're doing something wrong. Like you should be clickbaiting because you want to grow your channel. You want to be a good channel. But the term clickbait is used when it's not actually correct.
Okay, yeah. Wait. Please, I have to interrupt you here. We have to define clickbaiting because saying something like,
yeah. I was about to.
I don't know. Mexico was added to the game, right? And just showing you glitching into the Mexico is a pure clickbait. It's
Exactly.
But I don't know, saying something. Give me an example of what do you think is a reasonable clickbait that should be done of, I don't know, topic of the video and title, just right now.
Okay, so say for example, Rockstar made a recent update. Nothing too major, but the update has triple XP and triple cash and triple gold, right? So if you say that in a title, nobody gives a shit. Like, okay, triple multiplier, why do I care? But if you make the title like Rockstar finally added this and players can get an advantage or something like that, it's like that right there is like, okay, well, what did they finally add? What's the advantage? Whenever you click the video, you're being given that information. It's not clickbait because Rockstar finally added triple multipliers and Rockstar and players are getting an advantage. So you're being truthful with your title. It's just that your title was more quote unquote bait-ish to get you to click. That's not clickbait. Clickbait is when you say like new DLC in Red Dead Online just added, and it's a picture of like a bank with gold bars in it, and then the video itself is just somebody talking crap, and there's no new content. That's clickbait.
I agree, but well, we're still talking about some gray zone here. I mean, it's hard to to measure the line where it's a clickbait, this one is not. So it's some sort of a gray area in which, well, something is not clickbait, something is close. But I agree that unfortunately, I actually had this news about news weekly Red Dead Online update video, and nothing happened in this as it usually a year ago. And I've just named the video and I put it in the title like nothing happened. And you know what? It has like 3 times less views than average. But I was honest, I said like nothing happened. But on the other hand, why would people want to even watch this if nothing happens? They already have all this information. So what I'm trying to say is that unfortunately, I mean, I understand what you're talking about here, because unfortunately being totally like straightforward is not working as YouTube functions. It's just not gonna give any views, and yeah, there should be at least some spice in the title and thumbnail. But yeah, sometimes I see I mean obvious clickbait, and I always feel bad about it when I see it because I just don't get it. You know. Some
Well, you have to think about it too from this standpoint. There's some people out there that
sorry
is caring about their image. They don't care about their brand. They're literally looking at YouTube for a cash grab. Like they just want quick money and they want to get out. So to that extent, the clickbait will be astronomical. They will bait as hard as they can to get you to click. And sometimes the clickbait is so good that people click out of anger.
Sorry, you disappeared.
By commenting. So those videos will always, while they are memes in a sense, and they're just straight up terrible clickbait, they still do somewhat well because people interact with them and they click on them. So if you see clickbait and you think it's clickbait, then just don't watch it. Like that's the.
Sorry, you just.
But I mean,
you disappeared for a second. But okay, you said quick cash, right? But unfortunately, let's say not gonna give any names, but the biggest GTA Online YouTuber clickbaiter, we all know who I'm talking about. It's not a quick cash. He's making it constantly. People are constantly watching his pure clickbaitish video. Everybody knows he's a clickbaiter. He's a meme, but people still watch it over and over again. That was really weird to me when I found out. I mean, I don't get it. The biggest GTA Online clickbaiter, and
well, it's also the audience, right? You got to think about it. There's a bunch of young people out there that don't even know who he is. As weird as it may seem, there are still people who don't know who he is, truthfully. And it's one of those things where there will always be an audience for content like that, especially whenever he's uploading daily. It's just bound to get views. Like whether it's search terms, whether it's keywords and the way he titles his videos, those videos will still get traction and still get views, and he will still make money forever because he is a beast at uploading. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. Initials MBFTW.
Oh, something like this.
But yeah, I mean, I honestly, okay, so this may sound weird, but as a content creator, I respect that hustle in a sense of, holy shit, you're a madman. How do you upload that much with such little information? How are you able to get on your freaking computer every day and record 10 minutes of talking and be able to not just hate yourself? Like that to me is commendable in a sense that his work ethic is absolutely insane, right? Because he's uploading more than anybody else. And that's part of why he's still getting views, because he's just out contenting everybody. But at the same time, he has had a great fall in a sense that he has over a couple million subscribers and he's only averaging like 50,000 views a video. There's a reason for that. He tarnished his reputation by blatant, horrible clickbait, and he just rambles about mindless stuff during his videos. So his reputation and his brand is shot. He's kind of like canceled in a sense. But because he's still working hard and he's still uploading videos, there's still an audience. People still there's some people out there, believe it or not, that still like the guy. So,
Well, you said about working ethics, but unfortunately, in this case, I believe that working ethics is in a conflict with like personal ethics because basically his, I don't know, like
well, yeah, for sure. But I just mean like the fact that he's uploading daily. You know, that's hard.
yeah,
Like that's hard to do.
That's really hard to do. I mean, especially when there is nothing happening in the game that you are talking about. And as a Red Dead Online, as someone who creates content for Red Dead Online, I'm sure you understand how hard it is because you know.
Oh yeah. There's times where I've had to see with me, like I like I said, I get accused of clickbaiting all the time, but I know that my definition of clickbait is different than the average viewer on YouTube because the term clickbait just gets thrown around like super easily. People think that it's a catch-all term, but in all reality, there's a fine line, like you said. And for my videos, I always back up what my title is. Like my content in my video always matches my title. So I never like mislead anyone. I never give false information. I don't make anything fake. So I'm okay with it because where I'm standing, my morals, I'm fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean I understand this because for me it's just a big gray area and in which you probably should actually place your title somewhere for it to succeed, and I understand how it works perfectly. So yeah, everyone decides where clickbait is, but what I might agree, I will agree definitely that pure, without a doubt, clickbait is like when someone is saying something but it's not happening in the video by any means. That's a clickbait.
Exactly.
Anything else is somewhere in the middle. Okay, so since we're last question actually is from what it started, this video, if you don't mind to clear it up, because I liked your explanation about this video, your last video, where many tips were from mine previous, and you had these accusations of stealing content, which I personally don't think it should be a thing at all, because once your idea is published, it belongs to anyone. I really it's actually not my original thought. It's Seneca said like a few thousand years ago, but I like this idea because, you know, a few times I saw my videos like directly typed on the Reddit next day and shown as someone's thought, like literally, like with numbers.
Yeah, so for me, to be honest, literally I just straight up didn't set out to copy you, nor did I saw the comments start coming in after like a day or so the video was up, and I was like, what, why are people accusing me of copying Cat? Like I never copy Cat and copycat. Sorry. I don't do that. Like I don't copy other people. And I literally got my stuff from Reddit, TikTok, believe it or not, and Twitter. So also the Red Dead Reddit. It was a sponsor video that I threw together really quickly. So I just searched key terms like Red Dead secrets, Red Dead tricks that you missed, and I went on Reddit and different places and found all these tricks, and I just threw a list together. I also messaged several friends, Car Industry. I'm not really associated with them anymore, but they play the game religiously, and they sent me a few tricks. So like, and also experience, like those things were all compiled together by myself. So I had to rush the video out for the sponsorship, and unfortunately I guess it's just how it happened. I really don't, I saw your video on the horse thing after I was accused, and I was like, oh shit. Like I seriously did not realize it was you originally who found it. I had no idea.
But I mean, unfortunately, it's impossible to you know, to tell, even when you're making some invention in Red Dead Online. How can you tell that someone else haven't done it already? Because
well, yeah, but also like there's so little things to cover that like it's hard to not step on each other's toes and do that exact thing. Even with video content, like even with titles of videos of like after we see each other's content, we're inspired by each other subconsciously, and we take things from one another and use them in our own videos. There was like in the past, for example, like I've used some of your stuff for the clown movement, and I shouted you out. Like in the Red Dead Online subreddit, like I shouted out the Red Dead Online subreddit as well. I think the main reason why I slipped up on this video is because it was a rush video, and I didn't even shout out anybody on Reddit because it was all just like you said, just random people that I didn't know, which is, you know, it's not fair to me to say like just because I didn't know him, I didn't think it was worthy of shouting him out. But like these subredditors are like a dime a dozen. There's so many of them sharing tricks that I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah, I understand that perfectly. I mean, there are some
streamers I've put it.
Oops, you disappeared again.
Yeah.
It's not me
500
muting.
followers from a video I made.
I'm just saying that it's not me who muting you because it might look like
It's like one of those things, man.
Yeah, but so I'm just trying to say my position that it's super hard to, you know, to always came up with, I don't know, super original ideas. And I think that some of the tips that I'm giving it's just the tips that I've heard like a year ago and just tested, and I don't even remember the source. Or for example, I've made a challenge. I've decided to make a challenge. I made Barbarella Alcazar with only a hammer on the maximum difficulty, and I thought that it's a great idea. And when I published it, I had like few comments. Oh, like Take Back TV done it like half a year ago, and why you stole this old video? And I was like, what? So, I haven't seen it even. I mean,
it's just like if you look at Silent Core, for example, Pineapple. I know you know Pineapple, right?
Yeah.
For example, this stuff dates back for a while in the Red Dead community, and it's because we as content creators struggle to come up with ideas, admittedly. But anyway, Pineapple made a best purchases and worst purchases video, and then like they both did well. And then 2 weeks later, Silent Core made the same type of video, and Tagback made the same type of video. So that happened. I have my types of players video and my tricks you don't know video. I've seen types of players on your channel as well as tricks you don't know on your channel. I've seen people using like the news titling for Newswire updates with like Rockstar did this ... Like Hazard and Silent Core, after I went to Cyberpunk, started using my titling structure for their videos. So like it's not necessarily copying, it's drawing inspiration.
Oops, I'm not muting Zumie right now. Just saying.
It's everyone's been doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I took this idea with types of players from Modest Pelican because I saw his video. I thought it's a great
like, there
idea.
You go, boom. And like for me, seeing that video, from my perspective, it's like this guy just copied my types of players video. But that's super big-headed of me to think that because it could have been someone else. For example, you just said Modest Pelican is the one that inspired you to do it. Like that's exactly what I mean. So it's the same thing with the tricks that I found. I found them on Reddit from friends and stuff. So like to me, this is just information in the public's eye, and it's just being shared around, and I put it into a video format. So I apologize for, you know, if someone stole it from you on Reddit and posted it, that's probably what happened. But again, there's been tricks that I've pioneered, like the lasso launch glitch, that I've seen in other people's videos as well. For example, I did a video about tricks you don't know, how you can hide in a bush from the law and they'll run right past you. And then 4 days later, I saw John Sly Recon upload a Mythbusters video about bushes in the law. So like, I can't say he copied me because I don't know if he did, but at the end of the day, it's not my place to say that because he could have easily found that somewhere else. Or even on his own, just playing the game.
Look, these Mythbusters are working this way that people send him myths that he has to confirm or, you know, to prove wrong. So I mean, it's not like
someone could have easily seen my video and then went to his comment section and said that.
I saw a few of my tricks in Mythbusters as well, but I just know how it works because people send him these ideas to test basically and just say, look, it's a myth. But I mean, I started this topic because it's a little bit of a hard topic, and it's a hard and hot topic at the same time because actually Zumie contacted me a few days ago ago about this video, saying his point of view, and I have no hard feelings at all. I mean, I really believe that since it's super hard to, to find out who's being inspired, but who is the only solution for this is like the knowledge should belong to anyone. And of course, if you know where you're taking the source of information, you have to mention it. But if you don't know, I mean, it's not a problem if you use something occasionally. And
I mean, and then there will always be people too that, the ends justify the means, in a sense that people will still, like, a lot of people never even state their sources, because at the end of the day, it's fair use. It doesn't matter if you're being copied or someone's copying you at the end of the day, because guess what? It's not illegal, and people do it all the time. That's how a lot of networking works with like YouTuber groups, where they have like multiple friends in the same group. They all upload the same types of videos together because they know they'll do well. They just kind of like repackage them in their own little way. And they all become successful because they're sharing ideas. They cover the same things. Whereas in Red Dead, of course, that wouldn't work as well because it's such a small community. But in bigger games like Minecraft and Fortnite, groups of people get away with this stuff. There's people who have like multi-million subscriber channels, and they all make the same videos across the board and upload them at the relatively same time all together, and they all make money. So
actually, it's beneficial for, I don't know, let's say you made the same video as I did like a few weeks ago, like, and it's the same almost title, all right? 15 tricks, 7 tricks, you name it. It's at the end of the day, it's beneficial for us both.
Right.
Because we will just send viewers from one video to other, because how YouTube works, because how algorithm works. So I don't see no problem here at all, honestly. I because I really think it's beneficial for all creators. And plus, I mean, after all, even if the idea is I mean, you're inspired by someone's idea, but you still bring some piece
you're
of
still
personality
putting the time into the video. You're still delivering the content in your own way. You still have your own personality. Like, you can't copy someone's personality. If you go that far, if I was to like change my channel to something cat, and then I started like trying to mock your accent and like doing the same exact videos as you, that's different, right? That's like to the point of like I'm literally trying to steal your brand. And there's people out there who do that, like try to copy Ali A or try to copy other famous YouTube content creators. But when it comes to just like tricks in a game, like to even see if you actually are copying each other, you don't know. It's a very slippery slope, because you don't want to accuse somebody, because it's easy to look at an upload time and be like, oh, well, I uploaded mine first, and his came out 2 hours later, and it's got to be a copy of mine. It's like, no, that's not necessarily it. It's just because the game is so small and there's only so many tricks you can really talk about, and you're bound to do the same thing. It's just going to happen. Everyone makes Rockstar Newswire update videos. No one accuses each other of copying those, even though we're all just reading from a Rockstar Newswire post. So like, I don't know. I think it's silly, honestly, but yeah.
Yeah, so I actually agree on this. And plus, another small benefit in like making same types of videos, for example, even on the same tip, is making the video, you might find some, extra information valuable that was not found previously. So I don't know, testing some trick just to show it in video, you might find some additional information, cool information, and explore the topic better. So I mean, I just wanted to talk about it because it's another topic that a lot of viewers talking, and I just wanted to clear it out that I'm absolutely fine that some of my tips ended up in your video, and like I don't care.
And I was gonna say too, by the way, I was going to pin a comment and like apologize for any misunderstanding, and just clear the air basically, and say like, hey, this trick was found by a PvP cat first. I did not realize it. My source was not him, but check out his channel. Like, I was going to do that and repin the comment, but because it was a sponsor video, I couldn't unpin the comment because it has to be a sponsor comment. So
I wanted to make a joke that your title of your video should. I was talking with John Slyrecken, and I thought that it's better. It should sound like 7 Red Dead Online secrets that you should know if you will watch only PvP Cat. But because there are lots of tips that I will mention. I'm not even claiming that I'm the author of them, but in this particular video there were like so many tips. I only was not covering 2 of these in the last month, actually, which is. But again, I decided not to make a joke because not all viewers will understand that it's a joke, and that I actually.
Right, they'll take it seriously and then like come tell me, and like it'll be a big old mess. Because for example, there's been plenty of times where I've got comments on my tricks videos where it's been like numerous lists of people like saying, oh, this person copied you, hey, this person copied you, hey, this person copied you, and like they'll put their name in the comments, and some of these people we don't even know, like they're really small creators, like up and coming creators, I guess. It's like I don't care. Like if they're trying to grow, by all means use it. Like whatever. It's not my trick. It's in the game. It's not. I didn't create the trick. It's like it's not mine. And it's just crazy because I think also being in my position where I have over 100,000 subscribers in the Red Dead scene, I catch a lot of flack for a lot of things. Just because I am who I am. It's really easy to hate the big guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody loves the underdog. So, yeah.
Yeah, so actually we covered all the topics, not all of course, but most of the topics, and I just have to remind you that this podcast will be available on Spotify, and I guess I will post it later on YouTube as well, when I will cut the part without Zumie, because it's kind of weird to call podcast with Zumie Fiasco and just talking for myself for the first part, so I will end it up. And thanks for anyone who joined, who was posting in a chat. I was trying to keep an eye on chat as well all the time, and who was liking this podcast, obviously. I just have to remind you that next week we will have a silent core on this podcast, and we're also going to be talking about Red Dead Online, growing YouTube channel and stuff like that. Well, just pretty much like today. And thank you, Zumie, for joining this. We had pretty
man,
cool
of course. I'm glad you had me on, and I enjoyed it, man.
Yeah. Thanks. It was cool. I really enjoyed the conversation. So thanks to all the viewers.